All right, here we are in lesson 3. We're going to finish off the full first line of the sleeping tune and get a little bit into line 2. The links below for the sheet music from the Gordon Duncan Memorial Trust. Go ahead to the Gordon Duncan website, support the trust. You'll be helping young musicians in Scotland stay with the bagpipes instead of the video games. And you can click on the other link below for the workshop lessons if you missed lessons 1 and 2, or if you want to jump ahead to future lessons for the sleeping tune. It's all there. And let's get going here on lesson 3. So lesson 2, we ended off on the E in bar 3 of the music. Remember that E, you had the option of the doubling, and then we did that strike. So we're going to start on that E. So that's the lesson 3 chunk of music we're going to do here. So we're starting on the E. And we're going to have another E. So we're going to separate with a G grace note this time. So we've done the strike already back in lesson 2. Now we're doing a G grace note up and down with the top finger. So we have the E, G grace note. After that G grace note on the E, then we're going to drop down to D. So the grace note completes itself. We need to hear some E before we go down to D. And that E to D transition, lots of fingers on the go there. Drop the ring finger, drop the pinky finger, lift up all the other fingers of the bottom hand. From that D, we're going right back to the E. You do have the option of doing a G grace note here if you wish. If you don't want to do the G grace note, so it's really up to you on that one. D to E, we're going to the low A position on the bottom hand, ring fingers lifting on the top hand. We've done that before already in the tune, I feel. And if you want to do that G grace note, the top finger is going to lift. You do your transition, then the top finger comes down. Either way, you'll end up on that E. Once you're on that E, we're going to do another G grace note and stay on that E. And if you want to throw in the extra G grace note with the transition, one more time. So let's play what we have so far, starting on that E in bar 3. And actually, that's how far we've gone, and we're going to do the exact same thing we just did, back to D, back to E. So we just did that, we're going to repeat it again. And you again have the option to do the grace note on the E. But let me play without grace notes first, what we have so far with this added repetition. Once more, then we'll add in the grace notes. And if you're adding in those extra grace notes from the D up to the E, from there, we're going to go from E up to F. No grace notes on that. Just lift up one finger, pretty easy. And if we add in that F to what we have so far, from that F, we're dropping down to to the D, F to D. And you have the option of a G grace note, but first, just talking about which fingers are on the go where. We have top hand, all the fingers are dropping down. Bottom hand, pinky's dropping down. All the other fingers are lifting. If you're doing the G grace note, top finger has to lift. Then all those other fingers get into position before the top finger comes back down again. Otherwise, you'll have a bit of a crossing noise. So let's play what we have so far, right up to that D. And I'll do that once more, but without those grace notes on the transitions. So as you hear, this is a song, even if you're not super confident with embellishments and you're leaving out some of those trickier embellishments where you're transitioning from one note to another, it still just sounds so good. So either way, it's going to sound good. Just keep practicing. After that D, we're dropping down to the C just by dropping down the top finger of the bottom hand. Easy peasy. And that C, that's our last note of line 1. So I'll play right up to that C, starting at the E in bar 3. That brings us to the end of line 1. From there, we're going right back to the D. You do have the option of a grace note on this one. If you're not doing the grace note, it's just lifting up one note. Easy peasy. So last 2 notes of line 1 going into line 2. So you just drop down to the C and then you lift back up to the D. Easy peasy. If you're doing the grace notes, so you have that G grace note from C up to D. So top finger has to lift, then the bottom hand, top finger lifts, and then the top hand, top finger comes down. So let's play right up to that first note. That D is the first note of line 2. So we'll start on the E in bar 3 again. And if we're doing without the extra grace notes, and as you heard, even without the extra grace notes, the last note we're going to do in this lesson, we have to do a strike. We're going to do a strike. You have 2 options here. What's written in the sheet music is striking down to low G. So there, and we're just doing it once, all the fingers have to drop down, cover the holes. So we hear that little bit of low G before they pop back up again. That's a bit more challenging than just doing a light strike where we're just striking down to the C, just doing the top finger. So that would be a little bit of a different option, a little bit easier than doing all the fingers at once. So 2 options there for you. And even if you're doing minimal embellishments, then I would recommend just doing the light one, just the top finger, just to have it a little bit easier. But we do want to interrupt those 2 Ds with something. And let me play for you. I'll play for you the whole line 1 right up to this D strike. I'll do it with minimal embellishments first, and then I'll do it with all the embellishments thrown in. And let me do that once more for you with all the extra grace notes and doublings. But again, like, subscribe to the video, to the channel. If you enjoy getting these tune tutorials, check out the sheet music. Get it from the Gordon Duncan Memorial Trust. The link's below. And if you want to access all the lessons of the sleeping tune, I'd love to see you in lesson 4. It's all in the link below. And until next time, happy piping, and can't wait to see you in the next lesson. So here again is line 1, going into line 2 with all the normal grace notes, doublings, and all that jazz.